Friends. Today we will talk about the rolling contact bearings. And before going to the rolling contact bearing, we'll discuss the normal. We'll discuss what is bearing. A bearing is a machine element which supports another moving machine element. Uh, Most of the cases, the machine element is the shaft, and the shaft is known as journal. Part of the shaft which is enclosed by the bearing or the covered by the bearing is known as journal. Shaft and journal is nothing but is the same thing. Okay, it permits a relative motion between the contact surfaces of the member while carrying the load. So we can understand the bearing is a machine element which supports the another member which is carrying some load. And this load may be axial or radial in any direction. As per that direction of the load, we classify the bearing that thrust bearing or the radial. Okay. So due to the relative motion between the contact surfaces, there must be some friction. Why this friction will be there? Because you cannot make perfectly smooth surfaces. So there must be some roughness between of the surfaces, and when the peaks and valleys of these uh, surfaces, the roughness, and the peaks and valleys of two surfaces are get interlocked when they are in motion, then this friction come into the picture. Okay, so there must be some power loss due to the frictional resistance. If the rubbing surface are in direct contact, there will be a rapid wave. Suppose if the shaft is coming in the direct contact with the housing, and what will happen? After some time, the shaft will get weared out, and you have to change whole shaft. To protect the shaft, what we do? We install a bearing which support the shaft and protect it from wearing out. To reduce frictional resistance and wear, and in some cases to carry away the heat generated, a layer of fluid may be provided. When Okay, so the lubricating oil not only lubricate the or reduce the friction, it also carry out the heat accumulated at the surface of the bearing. The lubricant used to separate the journal and the bearing is usually a mineral oil refined from petroleum, but vegetable oil, silicone oil, grease, etc. may be also used. So this is the general outweigh of the your bearing. Now we come to the rolling contact bearing. These rolling contact bearing are also known as anti-friction bearings. And if we go the if we go for the construction of a bearing or the rolling contact bearing, this rolling contact bearing having four main parts, or rather you can say three main parts. The fourth part is the supporting part. Okay, so first part is the outer race. This outer ring is the first main part. Its outer ring is also known as outer race. Second part is the inner race. This is the part which carry the, in most of the cases, which carry the shaft. There is a solid shaft. This inner race carry this solid shaft. Okay, in some of the cases it is there when we make the outer race rotating, so shaft is mounted on the, or the this outer part is the rotating, and when the shaft is hollow you can mount it, the outer race, on the shaft. Okay, then uh, the most important part in the rolling contact bearing is the rolling element. This rolling element may be a ball or maybe a roller. The roller may be cylindrical roller or spherical roller. Maybe any type. So this is these main three parts are there in a rolling contact bearing. Another fourth part is the retainer ring or separator. Because if the separator is not there, what will happen? The ball will come in close contact to each other, or the roller will come in contact to each other. And another type of friction will develop in the power loss in will be there in the in between the balls and the rollers. Okay, so this retainer ring and separator is also provided. Some geometrical aspect if we see, these bearings are made round at the ends. So this corner radius is provided to avoid the sharp corner of the bearing. Okay, this internal diameter, this bore diameter is the diameter which carry the shaft in most of the cases. So this internal diameter refer to the shaft, okay, or journal. The mm, then inner race is also having the corner radius. Okay, this is the overall. This outer diameter is the overall dimension of the your um, rolling contact bearing. This rolling contact may be, I have told you earlier that this rolling contact may be a cylinder or maybe a ball or maybe a spherical roller. Okay. In rolling contact bearing, the contact between the bearing surface is rolling instead of sliding, as in the sliding contact bearing. We are talking about the sliding contact bearing. What is there? There is a sliding motion between the two surfaces. But if you see here in this bearing, the shaft is fixed with the inner race in most of the cases. And this inner race rotate along with the shaft. When this shaft rotates, what is happening? This inner race is rolling over these rolling element. So what type of friction will be there? What type of contact will be there? If there is a ball, there will be a point contact. If there is a roller, then there will be a line contact. Okay, and we know when there is a point or line contact, the friction value is very less as compared to the when two bodies are in relative motion and having the surface contact. Okay, so surface contact friction is always higher and point or line contact friction is always less. So in case of rolling contact bearing, the contact between the two surfaces are in relative motion, having the point or line contact. So the friction value is very less. The ordinary sliding bearing start from rest with particular metal to metal contact. Another problem with the sliding contact bearing was that there will always be a metal to metal contact at the starting, and the friction value at that time is very high, or at the slow speed the friction is higher in case of sliding contact. But as there is a point contact in the pure rolling motion between the two surfaces in motion, so the friction value is right from the zero speed is very less. Due to this low friction offered by the rolling contact bearing, these are called anti-friction bearing. But sometimes the question asked in the interviews and in examination that why the rolling contact bearing are called anti-friction bearing. So the rolling contact bearing are called anti-friction bearing because the friction in the rolling contact bearing is very less due to the point or line contact between the two surfaces are in relative motion. and uh, even at the very slow speed or at the zero speed, the friction value is very less as compared to uh, the friction in uh, starting stage of the rotation of shaft in sliding contact bearing. Okay, so this is the rolling contact bearing. Now we will talk about the material and manufacture of ball and roller bearings. Okay, since the rolling element in the races are subjected to high local stresses of varying magnitude with each revolution of bearing. Therefore, the material of the rolling element should be very of high quality. As you know, the if we consider a radial ball bearing, then there will be a point contact and the shaft is carrying the load. The load is directly transferring to the balls, okay, the lower balls, okay. When this load is coming over the lower balls, what is happening? This load will be transferred to the race, or the outer race and inner race, okay. As there is a point contact, so whatever is the lesser load, but there is a infinitely small area of the ball which is in contact, so the stress value will be very higher. So in case of this rolling contact bearings, this is a drawback, that the stress at the point of contact of the rolling element and the your race is very high. So for that purpose, the material should be of high quality. The ball are generally made of high carbon chromium steel. The material of both the ball and the races are heat treated to give extra hardness and toughness. We need both hardness and toughness. If we increase only hardness, what will happen? If the toughness is not there, when the load will come, it will not worn out. The ball and the race will not worn out. But what will happen? They will be crushed because due to the high hardness. So we need hardness as well as the toughness of the race and the ball. The ball are manufactured by hot forging on hammers for steel rod. With they are then heat treated, ground and polished. The race are also formed by forging and then heat treated, ground and polished. Okay. So the material, if we summarize this thing, so material, what type of material we use? We use high carbon chromium steel for the ball and the race. And how we made? We made the ball and race by forging, and after forging we go for the heat treatment and grounding and polishing. Okay, so requirement of lubrication in ball and roller bearing. The purpose of lubrication in ball and roller bearing is different as in the sliding contact bearing. In sliding contact bearing, there is a fluid film of the lubricant which carry the load. But here, the lubricant is not used to carry the load. The lubricant is used just to use to avoid the bearing elements, prevent bearing element from corrosion and to reduce friction in between the balls and the race, or the rolling element and the race. And one more thing is, it also, the lubrication also protect the rolling element and the race from dust and dirt, because it carry out the dust and dirt particle and this motion will be smooth. Sometimes there may be a heat accumulation in the high meeting points of the ball and the race. So this heat is also dissipated with the help of this lubrication. So what type of lubrication we should use? So if we talk about the what type of lubricant should we use, in general, oil or high grease, no, sorry, light grease is used for lubricating ball and roller bearing. Only pure mineral oil or calcium-based grease should be used. If there is a possibility of moisture content, that means if there is a possibility of corrosion of the bearing, then potassium or sodium-based grease may be used. Advantage of the grease is that it forms a seal to keep out dead air or any other foreign substance to come at the mating surface of the ball and the race. If any foreign particle come in between the race and the ball, which is rolling over the race, then what will happen? There may be a chances of warning out of ball and race, and then the bearing will get fail. Excessive use of oil or grease cause the temperature of the bearing to rise due to the churning operation. If you see what is the churning operation, churning is nothing but you can see the when you continuously give a whirling motion to the fluid, what will happen? A churning motion is that is called churning motion. So that due to the churning motion of the fluid, what will happen? The temperature of the fluid itself rises. Okay, so if excessive oil is there, what will happen? It will churn in the uh, churn between the oil, ball and the race. So what will happen? The temperature may rise. The temperature should be kept below the 90 degree, and in no case a bearing should operate above 150 degree. It is also worth mention here, if the temperature is rising more than 125 degrees centigrade in the your rolling contact bearing, that means that bearing will lose its load carrying capacity by 10%. And if it goes above 150 degrees centigrade, it again lose near about 15% or 20% of load carrying capacity. So this temperature is also one of the concerned area, that the temperature of the rolling contact bearing should not increase. Okay, so if we see, if we compare the coefficient of friction versus speed graph for three types of bearing, that is ball bearing, roller bearing, general bearing. If you see, the general bearing is having higher friction as the speed of the shaft increases. If we see at very low speed, the friction is higher, and the as speed is increasing, the friction comes at a minimum point at some speed, and then again the friction start increasing due to the fluid friction. But if you see the roller ball and roller bearings at smaller speed, this ball and roller bearing works very good as compared to the general bearing. The ball bearing are better. The ball bearings are much better at lower speed. Then roller bearing comes, and then the general bearing. But if you see at very high speed, these sliding contact bearing are better than the roller and ball bearing. So this is one of the limitation, that when we are working over very high speed, when the rotation of the shaft is very high, so we never use rolling contact bearing. We go for the general bearing, because at very higher speed, more than 2000 or 5000 rpm speed, the roller and ball bearing are not used. Then we go for the sliding contact bearing. Okay, then we will talk about the merit of rolling contact bearings. So there are some merits due to which we use these rolling contact bearing. So low starting and good operating friction torque. Okay, requires less axial space, as we know, to carry the radial load in case of general bearing, we need a very sufficient amount of length of the bearing. But in case of the width of the bearing is, as compared to sliding contact bearing, is very less. So yes, axial space is required. Generally taking both radial, in case of sliding contact bearing, if there are thrust load, then the general bearing cannot sustain that thrust load. You have to again install a thrust bearing separately for carrying this thrust load. But in case of rolling contact bearing, they can sustain both radial and axial load. The replacement, or you can say maintenance of the bearing, is very easy. Okay. Warning of impending failure by increasing noisiness. In case of rolling contact bearing, what is happening when the bearing are getting failed? The noise of the bearing is increased. So we come to know that there may be some problem in the bearing, so we have to change the bearing. So it gives the warning prior to its failure by increasing the noise. And good low temperature starting. So because why is low temperature starting? Because there is no metal to metal contact. Ever the metal metal contact, that is a point contact and the rolling motion. But in case of sliding contact bearing, what is happening? There is a sliding motion and there is a metal to metal contact. So at the starting in portion of the general or sliding bearing, the temperature rises very high. Okay. If we talk about the demerits of the rolling contact bearing, the greater diametric space is required. As you know, there is the inner race thickness, then there will be space required for the your rolling element, then outer race. So the overall diametral space requirement is more as compared to the sliding contact bearing. More severe alignment requirement, higher initial cost, because we need a very right alignment of the shaft. If we are mounting the bearing at the two ends of the shaft, then the alignment should be very accurate. If there is a misalignment, what will happen? Extra load has to be carried by the bearing. So in that case, either we have to over design the bearing, or the bearing gets failed. Noise normal operation, because there is a constant metal to metal contact, even it is a point contact, but the metal to metal contact, the operation is noisy. Finite life due to the eventual failure by fatigue. Ease of damage by foreign metal, because the bearing, the rolling contact bearing generally failed due to the fatigue. So they are having the finite life. Okay, fixed life. Either the bearing is not getting fail, or it is breakdown or not, we change it, because we know when it completes its life, it may fail at any time. Ease of damage by foreign metal. You know, if any dust and dirt particle come between the rolling element and the race, what will happen? The bearing of the race or the ball will be taking place, and there may be chances of failure of the bearing. They are having poor damping ability. They are not able to sustain shocks, because all the parts are very rigid. And for damping, what we need, we need the flexible parts. Like in the sliding contact bearing, we are having fluid fill, which is having the good damping ability. Okay, so these are the demerits of the rolling element bearing. Now, if we compare the sliding contact bearing and the rolling contact bearing, we can compare it on the 8 points. If we talk about the speed, general bearing are used for higher speed operations. Roller bearing are used for low speed operations. If you talk about the friction, power loss due to friction increases at high speed, which require proper oil flow rate for heat rejection. Lower friction in lower speed, but higher friction in high speed. Okay, so at very high speed, the roller bearing are not recommended, general bearing are recommended. Maintenance, need maintenance, permanent care, and lubrication is required, because constant lubrication is required. As and when the lubrication is reduced, what will happen is the fluid will break, and there will be metal contact, and the failure of the your sliding contact bearing will take place. In roller contact bearing, occasional attention is required once you have provided the grease over the surface of the balls and the race. No need to take care, but you have to check the oiling and the greasing of the bearing time to time. Shocks, bear the shock and high load. They does not withstand the shock and high loads. Axial length, very long to bear the shock and high load. Roller bearing, relatively less length is required. If you talk about the bearing life, they are having very long life. If you talk about the bearing life of the roller bearing, the fixed revolution are recommended for that particular bearing. After completion of that much of revolution, we change the bearing. Failure, lower possibility of failure occur. In case of roller bearing, higher possibility of failure is occur. Application used in higher speed application like turbine and compression, used in lower speed application like gearboxes, automobile, etc. Okay. So next thing is the type of rolling contact bearing, or you can say the classification of rolling contact bearing. The rolling contact bearing can be classified on the basis of two types. First type is on the basis of rolling element. So rolling element may be a ball bearing or may be a roller bearing. Okay. So when the rolling element is ball, it is called ball bearing. When the rolling element is slender, it is called a roller bearing. Another classification can be done on the basis of load supported. If the radial load is supported by the bearing, then the bearing is called radial load bearing, radial ball bearing. If the thrust load is to be supported by the ball bearing or the rolling contact bearing, then it is called thrust ball bearing. Okay. Now, if we see further, the classification of ball bearing. So first type of ball bearing is single row deep groove ball bearing. If you see this single row deep groove ball bearing having a deep groove which scatter the balls, and in this type of bearing we put as much as ball possible in the uh, inner race groove, and at the time of assembly the outer race is offset from the inner race. When the sufficient number of balls are put in the inner race, uh, then this outer race is may concentrate with the inner race. So this bearing will be assembled. So due to this groove which is provided in the inner race, these bearings are known as deep groove ball bearing. And these deep groove ball bearing are used for carrying the radial load. Okay, so if we talk about the single load deep groove ball bearing, during assembly of this bearing, the races are offset and maximum number of ball are placed between the race. The races are then centered and the ball are symmetrically located by the use of retainer or cage ring. The ball are separated by the cage ring, or as I have told you, the retainer ring. Okay, the deep groove ball bearing are used due to their high load carrying capacity and suitability for high running speed. The load carrying capacity of a ball bearing is related to the size of and the number of ball. The load carrying capacity of this deep groove ball bearing is dependent on the size of the ball and as well as the number of the ball. So if you see that this is the three-dimensional view of deep groove ball bearing, and it is the uh, two-dimensional picture of cut section of the ball bearing. Okay, so Here you can see these bearing can used for the radial load. They cannot sustain the thrust load or the axial load. Okay. Then another type of bearing is the filling notch bearing. The filling notch bearing is nothing but they are similar with the deep groove ball bearing. The only difference is that these bearings are having a filling notch in the outer and inner race, like it is shown here. Why this filling notch is provided? Suppose you want to increase the capacity of load carrying capacity of the bearing, and you have mounted a bearing and you want to increase the load carrying capacity of the same bearing. It is possible with the filling notch bearing. Why? When the load carrying capacity is to be increased, what will happen? We will insert extra balls with the help of this filling notch in between the outer and inner race, so that more load can be carried by the bearing. So these filling notch bearing are just similar to the single row deep groove ball bearing, but with an addition of a notch for filling extra ball inside the outer and in between the outer and inner ray. So if we talk about the filling notch bearing, these bearing have notch in the inner and outer rays which permit the more ball to insert than in the deep groove ball bearing. The notch do not extend to the bottom of the raceway, and therefore the ball inserted through the notches must be forced in position. Okay. Since this type of bearing contains larger number of balls than a corresponding unnotched one, therefore it has a larger bearing load capacity, or you can increase the load carrying capacity of the bearing. Okay. Another type of bearing is the angular contact bearing. These bearings are generally used for carrying radial and thrust load both. Such type of bearing can sustain radial and axial load both. Why they can do so? Because if you see, the shoulder of the bearing is extended towards bottom or towards the inner race, so that the axial load can be supported by the ball, this extended shoulder, and ball will not go out of the race. This rolling element will not go out the race. Okay, so such type of bearing can carry radial as well as axial load. So talk about the angular contact bearing. These bearing have one side of the outer race cut away to permit the insertion of more ball than in the deep groove bearing, but without having a notch cut into both races. This permits the bearing to carry a relatively larger axial load in one direction while also carrying a relatively large radial load. When if we are using extended shoulder in only one race, then such type of bearing can bear the axial load only in one direction. If we provide the extended shoulder in the both races, then such type of bearing can sustain the load, axial load in both directions. Okay, the angular contact bearing are usually used in pair, so that sometime what is happening, we may also use the this angular contact bearing in pair, so that the load either we use uh, both both races with extended shoulder, or we use pair of your thrust is this angular contact bearing, so that the load in either direction can be, the axial load in either direction can be sustained by the bearing. Okay. The next type of bearing is the double row bearing. Double row bearing. Double row bearing, there is a two row of the balls. Okay. What is the benefit of having this two rows of the ball? This double row bearing are also similar to the deep groove ball bearing. No difference in between that. But only difference is that instead of single row of the ball, there are the two row of the ball. And by providing two row of the ball, what we are doing? We are increasing the load carrying capacity of the bearing and keeping the overall dimension of the bearing less. If we use two bearings, two single row bearing, then the axial length of the bearing or the size of the two bearing will be much larger than the double row bearing. Okay. And if we are using the double row deep groove ball bearing, what is happening? The load carrying capacity is very minutely lesser than the two single row ball bearing, but the space that will be saved is very much higher in comparison to the reduction in load carrying capacity. So these bearing may be made with the radial or angular contact between the balls and races. The double row bearing is appreciably narrower than two single row bearings. The load capacity of such bearing is slightly less than twice that of the single row bearings. Okay. The next type of bearing is the self-aligning bearing. We have talked about this problem that if there is any misalignment in the shaft, then this bearings have the rolling contact bearing have the limitation. To overcome this limitation, type of bearing, rolling contact bearing, which is known as self-aligning bearing, are used. In such type of bearing, what is done? We make a race, we ground the outer race spherical. The inner surface of the outer race is spherical. What is the use of making this inner surface of the outer race spherical? The benefit is that it will create a wedging action. And if there is any misalignment in the shaft up to the 2 to 3 degree, then the ball will adjust according to the its settlement due to the wedging action. And this misalignment can be catered. This self-aligning bearing are of two types: externally self-aligned and internally self-aligned. If we are providing the spherical surface at the inner surface of the outer race, then the bearing is known as internally self-aligned. If we provide the spherical surface at the upper surface of the outer race, which will be matched with the housing and create the wedging action, like in this figure. You can see the arrow of the mouse. The upper surface of the outer race is made spherical, and this is matching with the bearing housing and making the creating the wedging action. And if there is any misalignment, this wedging action will accommodate that misalignment. The externally self-aligned bearing are generally not recommended because they are not interchangeable. Okay, they are made specific for the purpose and for a particular size, but internally self-aligned bearing are interchangeable. Okay, so these bearing, the self-aligning bearings permit shaft misalignment within 2 to 3 degree. Following are the two types of self-aligned bearing, that is externally self-aligned bearing and the internally self-aligned bearing. In an externally self-aligned bearing, the outside diameter of the outer race is ground. You can see here. Okay, uh, to a spherical surface which fits in a mating spherical surface in a housing. In case of internally self-aligning bearing, the inner surface, you can see here, of the outer rays is ground to a spherical surface. Consequently, the outer rays may be displaced through a small angle without interfering with the normal operation of the bearing. The internally self-aligning ball bearing is interchangeable with other ball bearings, but this externally self-aligned bearing are not interchangeable because we have to make housing as per the spherical surface of the bearing. Okay, so next type of bearing is the thrust ball. As you have seen, the ball is in case of radial load bearings or the radial ball bearings, the ball is taking the load along the radius of the races. But if you see the here in the thrust bearing, the ball is taking the load along the axis of the races. So, or the along the axis of the shaft. So, such type of bearing are known as thrust bearing. The thrust ball bearing are used for carrying thrust load exclusively. They cannot sustain the radial load. But the radial ball bearing can sustain both type of load. Okay. The speed should be remain below 2000 rpm because at a higher speed what will happen, there will be a centrifugal force which will try to force out the balls from the races. Okay, at high speed centrifugal force causes the ball to force out of the race. Therefore, at high speed it is recommended that angular contact ball bearing should be used in place of thrust bearing. So the use of thrust bearing are very limited. Okay. Now the another type of bearing, rolling contact bearing, is the roller bearings, and these roller bearing further can be classified on the basis of type of cylinders. The cylindrical roller bearing. In such type of bearing, the rolling element is cylinder. Okay, cylindrical roller. And these bearing having the higher load carrying capacity as compared to the ball bearings. Why? Because they are having the line contact. So the capacity of load carrying is higher. So these bearings are relatively rigid against radial motion and have lowest coefficient of friction of any form of heavy duty rolling contact bearing. Okay. Because these type of bearing are used for higher load, so they are having least friction in their category. Such type of bearing are used in high speed services. Okay. Spherical roller bearing. In case of spherical roller bearing, the rolling element is having the roller in the spherical form. You can say having the roller of shape of dholak. You have seen the dholak, na? That dholak type shape of the roller is there. That means the this instead of this cylindrical surface, it is this roller is having the spherical surface. So such type of bearing are having spherical rollers. Okay. So spherical roller bearing, these bearing are having the self-aligning property because or to have this type of rolling element like spherical rollers in between the rays are grounded in the sphere form so that misalignment can be adjusted by the wedging action of the rollers. Such type of bearing can sustain the misalignment of plus minus 1.5 degree. That means they can cater the 3 up to 3 degree misalignment. When used with a double row of roller, these can carry thrust load in either direction. Okay. these bearings can sustain the load in either direction. If we are using the double roll as shown in figure, double row spherical roller bearing, then these bearing can sustain load in thrust load in either direction. Then come to the needle roller. In case of needle roller bearing, the roller diameter is very less as compared to the length of the roller. The needle roller are just a cylindrical roller, but the slenderness ratio is very high for the needle roller bearing. So these bearings are relatively slender and completely fill the space. So neither a cage nor a retainer is needed. In such type of bearing, retainer ring is not there. These bearings are used when heavy loads are to be carried, because number of roller you can put, that means the distribution of load is divided at a number of points. So such type of bearing can carry higher load. In general, the oscillatory, where there is a oscillation or oscillatory motion, these bearings are used at those points, like piston pin bearing in heavy duty diesel engine, where the reversal of motion tends to keep the rollers in correct alignment. Okay, because each and every time they have to change its direction, so they must be in a perfect alignment. So these type of needle roller bearings are used where the oscillatory motion are there. And the last bearing is a taper roller bearing. These taper roller bearing are basically used where the higher thrust load is coming over the shaft. Okay, and this taper, which is given to the inner race and the outer race, is this taper angle or the cone angle is dependent upon that how much larger axial load is coming, or you can say the ratio of radial to axial load is there. If higher the axial load, the inclination will be higher. If lesser the axial load, the inclination will be lesser. The roller and the raceway of these bearing are truncated cone whose element intersect at a common point. Such type of bearing can carry both radial and thrust load. These bearings are available in various combinations as double row bearing and with different cone angle for use with different relative magnitude of radial and thrust load. So this angle is very important in case of tapered roller bearing, and the surfaces of this tapered roller bearing are as truncated cone. Okay, this is the overall classification of rolling contact bearings and introduction of rolling contact bearings. So we will meet with the next lecture in which we will discuss how to designate the rolling contact bearings. Okay, thank you for listening me patiently.